we can see here that I explained last time. First, أنا, if it's singular. If it's plural, then it's نحن. And for the second person, it's for one male, أنت. For one female, أنتِ. So it's going to look the same, but the حركة on the تاء is going to be, instead of فتحة, is going to be a كسرة. أنت أنتِ. And then you, for two males or two females, is the same. أنتما. And for 3 plus male, it is أنتم. Plural. أنتم. Okay. And for the female, we add something called female noon. We're familiar with female tag, but this one is female noon. Female noon, it means that anytime it has something to do F, 3 plus F, anytime it's 3 plus F, it ends with the female noon. Antunna. And if it's the third person, hunna. Hunna. If it's the first person. If it's the third person, it's hunna. If it's the second person, antunna. Okay, so that is the pronoun, detached pronoun. The attached pronouns, my, our, for the first person, which is adding ya at the end or adding nun alif at your. For the second person, it's all your in English, but in Arabic, if it's one male, if you're talking to one male, then it's adding kaf at the end. If you're talking to one female, then you are adding kasra, kaf with kasra. This one kaf with fatha, this one kaf with kasra for a female. You notice this here the same, ta with fatha, ta with kasra. And then if you're talking to two males or two females or a mix, one male and one female, then you use this, your, which is kuma, something, kuma. So, for example, if we say sayyara, here is going to be sayyarati. Here is going to be sayyaratuna. Here is going to be sayyaratuka and sayyaratiki. Or sayyaratokuma, sayyaratukum, sayyaratukuma, sayyaratakum, and sayyaratakunna. This is for the second person. For the third person, it is his. Sayyara means sayyaratuhu, sayyaratuha, sayyaratuhuma, sayyaratuhum, sayyaratuhunna. Okay. Now, regarding the ownership, also can be expressed using two different ways, either by saying mine or my property. Mine means li. My property means milki. Lana, ours is lana. Our property is milkana. Milkana. And for the second person, laka or milkaka. If it's male, female, laki, milkaki. Lakuma, milkakuma. Okay, so let's apply this table here. And also the pointers. We talked about the pointers. We said that there are far pointers and near pointers. There is this, and there is, make it here big. And I think there's something missing here. This had Okay. Yeah, this one's supposed to be, this is I'll make the correction later, but that's not correct here because it is not for the second person. It should only be for the third person. You're talking about pointing to something, it should be on the third person. So I'll fix this later, but that's this table here. This table here, not correct in its current form. So we fix it. Some kind of a line that inserted here. And this is 1M, 1 female, 2 female. Yeah. Anyway, inshallah, I'll fix it later. But these are the pointers that we use to point. This is this, that, these, those, for one male or 2 female or a mix. And those, تناكي هؤلاء, تانكة هؤلاء, those for the far. This is هؤلاء, this is for the far, for the near, and those for the far is تانكة. Okay? Okay. So I'll be fixing this one later. Just keep it in your mind now that's going to be fixed. Okay. So let's do this. You do this, use this to do the homework. Okay. Table here and use it to do the homework. Okay. So this is an engineer. This goes right here, means هذا. This means هذا. Okay. So this means هذا. So this is هذا. An engineer means it is indefinite now. It's not defined, not definite. It's indefinite now. So it will not have alif lam. Okay, and according to the vocabulary list here, engineer for one male is muhandis. But let's say I didn't give you this. For you to use, you want to know what engineer is? Go copy, then you start the Google Translator. By the way, I'll show you in a minute that Microsoft Word has also translator. If muhandis.
مهندس
Muhandisun. So keep in your mind.
مهندس
Muhandisun. Because we're going to copy it. Copy it. Okay. And then go to the mishkal. The mishkal. And paste it. That's the tashkil. There is muhandisun. So it fits what they say. So here it says
مهندس
muhandisun. Muhandisun. So that's a correct translation. So you copy it, and then you go back to your homework. And you use مهندسون and paste it, paste مهندسون, or you paste like this, مهندسون. Okay? Okay. Now, what happens if it's a female? What would be the only difference? Everything is the same, except this is one male, this is one female. The difference is that you're going to take the same thing here, but instead of مهندسون, it becomes مهندسة, female. So it adds تاء التأنيث at the end of the male word. As we learned before, to convert from one male into one female, you add تاء التأنيث. And تاء التأنيث is a تاء مربوطة at the end. Now, since we're going to add تاء, then tanween must be removed. Okay, because you can't have tanween except on the last letter. So we remove the tanween and then go ahead and add the تاء مربوطة here, تاء مربوطة, okay, and then you add the tanween on the تاء مربوطة. Okay, so the scene can't have tanween now because it's not at the end. Tanween is only at the end. Okay, and then add the fatha. So muhandisun becomes muhandisatun. So that's the only difference between a male and female. Now, how about if we say that? According to that is ذلك. That is ذلك. Okay, so an engineer, so we can, just to make it easy, we can copy this. And instead of هذا becomes that. That means ذلك. So we're going to change this into ذلك. The we can also copy it from here if we want. We can copy it from here. ذلك. So instead of typing it, you can just copy it. So instead of that is an engineer, ذلك مهندس. This is an engineer, هذا مهندس. Okay? Now, then what happens if we want to make it one female? So that's an engineer, one male, and that's an engineer, one female. The only difference is going to be the female tag. So I'm going to copy this. So ذلك, correct. Now we want to add a female tag. And so we can just, instead of typing it, we can just type it. So ذلك مهندسة. Actually, it is tilka because it's for female, so it's tilka. Tilka, and then this. Tilka. Tilka. And the kasra is here, and on the lam is تلك مهندسة. Okay. Now these is هذان for male or هاتان for female. But here this is two male, then it becomes هذان. Okay. So we take هذان, it's from the table. It becomes هذان. These are the notes published every time. I remind you about this. This is the notes. The notes is published in the notes are published into here. I don't recommend that you print it out or save it because it keep updating things in it. So you can just look at it, use it, and then anytime you need it, come look at it, look it again, look it up again, because it you save it, then it will not include the corrections and the modifications that I made. So every time you can just view it. Okay, and this is in PDF, or if you want, you can do a Word format. It will ask you where to save it, and then you save it and open it. Okay. Okay. And that's what we're doing today is homework number 20. Okay. 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 So it's هذاني. Okay. And this one here, since I remember it's going to تلك. And I will fix that later, inshallah. هذاني. And then engineers. How do you convert an engineer from 1M into 2M? The rule says that to convert from 1M to 2M, need to add either alif noon, okay? Alif noon if it's marfu', ya noon if it's mansub or majroor, okay? Now, this is we're talking about the noun sentence here, the noun sentence. The mubtada or the subject is these is the mubtada or the subject. Engineers is the khabar or the predicate, or the khabar right here. Okay. So the subject is marfu' and the predicate is also marfu' in the noun sentence. Okay. This is the rule mentioned here. That the noun sentence starts with the noun. It means for subject and predicate. Okay. And the subject and the predicate, both have the subject and the predicate are marfu', unless they are preceded by a modifier, and I've included this just for the, but I will never get you to use any example. So usually always the default, which is marfu'. So marfu' for dual is alif noon. Is alif noon, not ya noon. Okay. Okay. So we do take the word muhandis and paste it there. Let's make them bigger so that we can see them. Okay, so to convert from singular into plural, into double, we remove the tanween as we agreed. Then we add alif nun. Now, I need to do the tashkil. I need to do a tashkil now. Alif is always preceded by fatha. So I'll go to in and make sure it takes a fatha. This scene here, make sure it takes a fatha. And this one is always muhandisani. It's a built-in kasra. Built-in means it's part of the actual word. It's part of the actual word itself. It doesn't change with grammar. Always the same. Okay, so this is how I could get it to 2 meals. Okay. I'm gonna make sure it's at the right font. Okay, what if the two engineers are 2 females, not 2 males? So you copy the 2 female to copy the 2 male form. Down there. And then all you need to do is just a female tag here. That fatha. Female tag fatha. muhandisatan. So that's the only difference. That we are adding the alif noon for the male form and the ta alif noon for the female word. Okay. Now, how about those? Go back into the table. We see that those ذلك ذلك for male, ذلك for female. So it's okay. These. Okay. Now the question here is about 2 meals. Those for 2 meals. So those for 2 meals. Those for 2 females, for 2 males are right here for dual. Danica. Okay. So I go back here. And by the way, before I forget, this is that, you know, then تاني مهندسة تاني. Okay. So the difference would be female tag added here you added the female tag to the male form. and instead of هذاني becomes هذ. So that's the only difference between the male and female. Male, dual male, dual. Might ask, what if we have one male and one male and female? They are two, as two males. If the group we're talking about is mixed, then it is treated as male. Okay? If talking about plural now, if the group has mixed group, has females and males, then we treat it as males. Even if it's all males, or even if it's all females and one male, still we treat it as male. But in any mixed scenario, we go back to the default. The default is going to be the male form. Okay? Okay, so those are engineers. These are engineers. The only difference between them is those and these. So I can easily copy those here, copy it down here. The reason I'm using copy and paste is to just save the amount of typing. Okay, and those, so everything is correct except those here, word those. We go there and we say, we see that those means tanika. Those means tanika. Offer. This is for, yes, right? Yes. Yes. Yes, it's 2 for 2. I think I have an earlier version of this grammar book that is working. So this is the correct table. Okay. So I think those for 2 meals is going to be Dhanika. Dhanika. So we go back here to the homework, say those for 2 meals is going to be Dhanika. 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 Dhanika muhandisan. Okay. What if it was 2 females? If it's 2 females, then according to the table, if it's 2 females, Tanika becomes Tanika. So all what I need to do is go back here. And instead of Danika, I copy it, paste it here. This one becomes Danika. Danika. Yes. Danika. Muhandisan. Okay. What if we're talking about 3 plus M? 3 plus M. So 3 plus M, back to the table. This one here. This one is 4 plus M. So for 3 plus M, we go, we say it's Ha'ulak. We close this one. And we say here, okay, I'm going to copy the base form, which is هذا المهندس, from here and paste it here. That's the base form, which is for one M. And now let's change the words. So these, according to this here, these means هؤلاء. So I can just go back here and change this to هؤلاء. 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 Then how do I change مهندسون? One male into 3 plus male. The rule says add either واو نون or ياء نون. واو نون if it's مرفوع, ياء نون if it's منصوب or مجرور. But according to the rule that says that the default case for مبتدأ is مرفوع, for خبر is مرفوع, then we're going to pick the مرفوع form. مرفوع form means adding واو. Before we add the واو نون, I delete the tanween because tanween only exists at the end of the word, and then add واو. Okay, the letter before the واو must have dhamma. So this scene will take a dhamma. Why? Because if it's مهندسان, then the scene will have a fatha, because the letter before the fatha, before the alif is fatha. The letter before the واو is dhamma. The letter before the ya is kasra. See here, scene had a fatha because the alif must be preceded by a fatha. Okay, here this has a fatha because the alif must be preceded by fatha. And the waw is dhamma, so you don't need to put tashkil on it. And this is the built-in tashkil, which is part of the word itself, doesn't change. مهندسون. هؤلاء مهندسون. Okay. Now, they want the B plus female version. So I'm going to take the one male version and convert it. I'm going to copy it here. Okay, and see what can we do to convert. These for 3 plus female, go back to the table. These for 3 plus female is هؤلاء. So I copy it. I come here. This becomes done. Here. This becomes هؤلاء. هؤلاء. Okay. And since it's already here, just copy like this. هؤلاء. Okay. We know that to convert from one male into 3 plus female, we add alif ta. Alif ta. Okay. And because the scene is followed by a alif, so it has to have fatha. Because before the alif, you must have fatha. For the waw, before the ya, you must have kasra. Here, because it's alif, then we convert it into the fatha. Now, the marfu' form for plus females is dhamma. But the question is, which one it is? Dhamma or tanween dhamma? Is it dhamma or is it tanween dhamma? Is tanween dhamma. Why? Because there's no alif lam. If there's alif lam, then you can't have tanween. If you don't have alif lam, then you have to have tanween. Okay? Given into consideration the fact that muhandisat is sarf is allowed, default case. Sarf is allowed the cases that we listed. Sarf is allowed for that. So you put tanween, you don't have alif lam. You have alif lam, you don't put. Okay. Now I'll jump this and help you with other one here. I own this dog. I own this dog. So this dog is mine. I own this dog. How do we say it? I own means mulki. Means mulki. I own means mulki. This dog is هذا الكلب. Now, in Arabic, you don't say it in the same order like English. In English, I own this dog. In Arabic, you say, this dog I own. So this is I own, milki. How do we know that? Here. And you're talking about the first person. The first person. So the first person is either li or milki. Which one of those? We're using this one, milki. So we go back here. Okay. هذا الكلب milki. And I'm glad that I'm doing this because the name here of سكون. So mulki. Or you can say milki. Also, another way of saying it is milki. Milki. So the one that's mentioned here is milki. So we stick with whatever in the table. That becomes كسرة here. ملكي. هذا الكلب ملكي. I own this dog. This dog is هذا الكلب and milki. And I mentioned that you can do translation using Microsoft Word. Yes, you can highlight the word like this, and then right mouse click and say translate. Yes, it's right here. Translate. Brings your translator on the right, and then does the translation for you. I tried it. It's really nice. Like, for example, the translation from to English, United States, yes. هذا الكلب ملكي. I don't care. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, this is roughly how you do it. It has a little bit more details that we can discuss later on. But it does translate to Arabic, English to Arabic, and from Arabic to back. I'll prepare a video clip and put it on YouTube showing you how can you do translation direct through the details. Okay, now what if I want to say this dog is mine? So this dog is mine is going to be the same, except instead of milky, we're going to say li. We're going to say li. We remove the meme. and you move the kaf. So هذا الكلب بي. And the ya is preceded by kasra. So the lam has to have a kasra. Okay? Now, these cats are mine, and the cats are two females. So, cats, pitta is for a single cat, female cat. Now, we want to make them two. So we remove the ta'nif, okay, and make it instead of مربوطة, تاء مربوطة, we mix it تاء مفتوحة, then ألف نون. قطتان. Okay, you get this one from Google Translator. قا با قطتان. And you also notice again that any alif must be preceded by fatha. So this is why we have قطتان. Okay? قطتان. So these are two cats. Are mine means لي. قطتان. And when I say these, we go back to the table. These right here. These. But for these for female is هاتان. These for female is هاتان. For two female, it is هاتان. So we put this one, then actually copy هاتان from the table directly. I don't have to type them. And then هاتان قطتان. At the hat. That needs a fatha. This needs kasra. As you notice again, the alif must be preceded by fatha. That's why we have that fatha. هاتان قطتان. تاء ألف قطتان. هاتان قطتان. Those cats belong to Muhammad. So those cats. So those, I go back here to the table. Those is tanika. So I go here, it's tanika. Cats. القطتان. And then belong to Muhammad. We can say milk Muhammad. Because when Muhammad, when we talked about the third person, one male. Back here, the third person, one male. Third person, one. Third person, one male is going to be is going to be ملكه. Is going to be ملكه. So Muhammad, we can say ملك محمد. ذلك القطتان ملك محمد. So ذلك القطتان ملك محمد. ذلك القطتان ملك محمد. This is the way to say it here. Here, you say those cats, 3 plus female, go back to the table. For 3 plus female, it is أولئك. Those for 3 plus female, it's أولئك. So أولئك. Cats, you know, to get the female 3 plus form of cat, قطة becomes قطات. أولئك القطات لها. And this one, هاتان القطتان لي. هاتان قطتان لي. تانك القطتان ملك محمد. أولئك القطات. If you use the form for regular plural, regular female plural, but if you want to just use the irregular plural, then you would say القطط. Okay, so you can say قطات. That's very uncommon. But the more popular form, or the form that is almost there all the time, is to use the irregular plural, which is القطط. And that should come out of Google Translator, as we used to say here. The cats. Cats. There's القطط. So you just copy it and back here and use it. Paste it. Use it. قطط. Okay. So Google Translator is going to help you to get the plural of this. هذه أولئك القطط لها. أولئك القطط لها. These cars, 2 cars, and car is a female word. Not there is a female car or a male car, no, it's just a female word. The female noun. Cars, 2F, so سيارتان, belong to them. These, we go see what is these. These are هؤلاء. Yeah, but we're talking these for 2F. These for 2F. Here's 2F. هاتان. هاتان. So هاتان. يعني القطة ثاني ملكه. Where do I get ملكه from? we're talking about the first, third person, okay? One man. So it's right here. ملكه. ملكه. So that is the one I'm using here. ملكه. And قطتان, because that's the plural, the dual form. And the dual form is مرفوع. مرفوع dual form is ألف. This one ألف. For مرفوع dual form, this one ألف. نون, not ياء نون. Because ياء نون or okay? Okay. Inshallah, we'll continue next week, inshallah. Any questions?